in times of this crisis of corona, it is good to see any kind of solidarity among people rather than them running out trying to hoard supplies. Here's a perfect example of the kind of solidarity that workers in the United States need to give. GE workers, General Electric workers, in the US, in more than one plant, launched two separate protests demanding that the company convert its jet engine factories to producing ventilators. Now, we know the issue of the ventilators necessary for helping people in this situation and all the damage that is going through, the lack of them, etc. Lynn, Massachusetts aviation facility, the workers held a silent protest standing 6 feet apart. Union members at the company's Boston headquarters also marched 6 feet apart, asking that the company switch from making jet engines at a time when people aren't flying, so you're not going to need more jet engines, to ventilators, which are very necessary right now. Now, this comes just after General Electric announced that it would be laying off 10% of its workforce, 10% of its domestic aviation workforce, firing nearly 2,600 people, along with temporary layoffs of 50% of its maintenance workers in a bid to save the company $500 million to $1 billion. Now, the Industrial Division of Communication Workers of America, IUE-CWA, explained how General Electric's current layoffs and closures could undermine the future efforts to increase ventilator production. In other words, they would actually be hindering the production of ventilators, not just not producing them, but actually making it worse. Now, the company says that it has ramped up its ventilator production in its Madison, Wisconsin factory and said that it needs to consider the needs of other customers like the U.S. military before changing the types of products that it makes. So let me get this straight. You're not making enough money off of jet engines right now because people aren't traveling. Okay? Switch to ventilators. Produce the ventilators. They're clearly in demand right now. You already have the necessary capabilities of doing so. They've got football field sized factories that are sitting empty that could easily be converted. And that's what the union is saying. They can be easily converted into producing these ventilators. But we're not going to do that because, man, you know the U.S. Army's got to come first. Bombing people has to come. Bombing people in the third world has to come before providing ventilators for sick people in the first world. It is of greater priority to capital to kill people than to help them. Hey, I'll bet war makes a lot more money than healthcare does. But I mean, the irrationality of this is incredible. You'll still turn a profit. You'll still make money, and you'll help people at the same time. Okay, Kaplan, you don't give a shit about people. You just want to make money. Fine. Here, make the ventilators. You'll still make a profit. You'll make more than if you had laid off your staff. You'll be able to, everybody, a lot of people, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people will be able to keep their jobs, continue to keep paying rent, and the landlords can shut the hell up and stop whining. And the ventilators are going to get made that people need in order to survive. I mean, you're making a profit. What are you complaining about? But they would rather shut that down than convert it because the U.S. military may not want it. Well, let's be honest, they're not going to want it. It is of greater priority in the logic of capital, not just the American empire, but in the logic of capital, to forward imperialism than it is to actually help people. If that isn't enough to at least make you pick up a piece of socialist literature, I don't know what will. If people getting evicted from their homes isn't enough to pick up socialist literature and start questioning, the perceived right to own property and rent it out for people to live, if it's not going to make you question that, just at least question it. I got to wonder what's wrong with you. Because one of the things out of this entire pandemic has been a pretty damn good reason to turn against capitalism, which is why, the Mises Institute, PragerU, Turning Point USA, and all those other right-wing think tanks are churning out more anti-socialist propaganda than ever because they know there's a crisis. They know people are questioning their bullshit. So they got to pump up that propaganda right now to reinforce a failing idea. And maybe it'll work in the end. Maybe it won't. Hopefully it won't. But this should be a wake-up call to a lot of people, maybe a lot of people who are sitting on the fence, that maybe now they have to start paying attention and start looking at what the alternative to the crisis they're having right now actually is.
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.